Hi, this is a video made with the intention of helping you make a UI table view in the simplest possible way. So we go to Xcode and we can create a new project, and it's going to be an iOS app. And I wouldn't want to call this table view because it gets confusing, so I'll call it TableView Example. So we have to make sure that we're coding in Swift. We use the UIKit app delegate because this is a UIKit tutorial, and we select storyboard. Click Next, and I can save that in my documents file. Okay, so usually I wouldn't do the coding necessarily first. I might hook everything up, but in this case, to make this a bit easier to follow, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So we'll be coding before we even look at the storyboard. So I'm going to display my list of people in a table view, which is sometimes known as a list in other languages. And we can have a variety of names in there. I think that'll be enough for now. And the way this connects with the storyboard is through an IB outlet. So I can actually write that. I can write that in, and I know I'm going to connect that later. It says it's not connected because that's an empty circle, which will get filled later when I've finished that part of the job. So I'll always be able to refer to my table view as table view. Table views have cells within them, and each cell type will have a cell reuse identifier. And I'm just going to call mine the string cell. And within view.didLoad, so as soon as the view is loaded, I'm going to set up the table, which we'll call this function setUpTable. And I'm just doing that to keep my code nice and clear. And what's going to happen is we're going to register our cell for reuse. So we're going to have a type which will be the standard UITableView cell. And the reuse identifier is going to be the one that I've set up earlier, which is cell reuse identifier. And a table view needs to know where it gets its content from. The table view is going to get its content from this same file, from this same view controller. So that's called a data source and a delegate. And then to keep my code clear, I'm going to write the next part in an extension. It's going to be the extension of my view controller class, and it's going to make it conform to my UITableView delegate and my UITableView data source. So we need to fill in several of the data points that the table view needs. So that's going to be how many rows, number of rows in section. This is going to be the amount of people we have. So people is defined an array up there, and the amount of people is going to be the amount of rows we have, which kind of makes sense. Now, so for cell for row at will return which cell is used for a particular row. So we get that particular cell from dequeuing it from the table view. So the truth is that the iOS can either dequeue a cell, can either create a new cell or use an existing cell. And the way it knows if it's done that is we have the reuse identifier. So I'm going to set the text on the cell to be the correct string from the people array. Now, if there isn't a cell that can be dequeued, that is reused or created, I'm going to raise a fatal error. And a fatal error will stop the execution, and it should be okay here because the only way that will happen is if I've made a mistake in the cell reuse identifier, say not registered the same cell as I later use. So that's the coding part of this. Now I need to connect it to the storyboard. So that's going to involve putting in a table view. I'll just put it to the edges there. It goes blue to show it's at the side. Easiest way then is to use the assistant editor. And then I can drag from this circle into the table view. And then the table view is connected. So now, when I run the project, I'm expecting to see a table with 1, 2, 3, 4 people. And the people will just be the strings. Let's see. And it has all 4. If I had enough people, there'd be more below, and I could scroll up and down and see more of the people. But this is a very basic representation of a table view, and I hope it's helped you out in some way.